Hello, everyone. I'm here today with Dr. Colosimo. It's been a big year with Utah Education Fits All. It's a big initiative, and probably no one knows more about it in the state than you do. Award letters have just come out, and I think there's probably lots of questions. So, can you summarize basically what Utah Education Fits All is all about? What is it? What is it for? What's it doing?
Well, the quick summary, I think most people know, but we are part of a movement that is trying to make it possible for every family in private schools and homeschools to get a scholarship, an $8,000 scholarship, to allow their children to be educated in one of those two formats. And we are only at the beginning of this process. We kind of see a 3 to 5 year period of time when we can get enough money so that every single family will be able to get a scholarship. There was a total of $82 million that was allocated for this. 10,000 scholarships were distributed last Friday. That was the good news. The bad news is that almost 18,000 students did not get a scholarship. And many of our families at the Skaggs Catholic Center were put on that wait list. Some might sneak into actually getting a scholarship in the next 90 days. But unfortunately, many of them will be on the waiting list until next year with the hope that more money will be allocated.
So let's break that down a little bit more. People that applied were hopefully notified. There were those that were told you received the scholarship, and another group that said you didn't receive the scholarship. So for those people that got a letter that said you received the scholarship, what happens next for them, or what should they do next?
The first thing that should happen is if you received a Utah Fits All scholarship, you were notified by email. And if they would bring that email to the finance office or just forward their email to Vanessa Morales or Ruth Fitzpatrick in the finance office, that's the first step. The school needs to know that they actually received the scholarship. Then the second step is that they have to declare by July 1 and hopefully sooner that they will accept the scholarship. The third thing is that along about the end of July, the 1st of August, the money for this scholarship will be distributed by the state of Utah to the scholarship granting organization. And it'll be at that point that they will work with Ruth and Vanessa to transfer the money from their accounts with Utah Fits All to the schools of the Skaggs Catholic Center.
The next group of people got different kind of news. They got an email that said you did not get the scholarship this year, which might have been disappointing to some of them, obviously. What should they be looking for? What are their next action steps?
There were almost 18,000 students that did not get the scholarship. Those 18,000 students were put into a lottery, and they were ranked in that lottery as anywhere from number 1 to nearly 18,000. And if you got a waiting list letter that says you're number 25 or you're number 51 or you're number 5, hang in there. There is a good likelihood that another 100 or 200 or 300 families might get the scholarship. If you're at number 10,000 on the waiting list, you're not going to get the scholarship
this year.
But it would still be good for all that were denied the scholarship to do the same thing as the first group, and that is to forward that email to either Vanessa or Ruth so that they know that you're on the waiting list.
If I received a letter that said I did get a scholarship, that scholarship is valid until my student graduates. I don't have to reapply every year, or do I?
No, that's a beautiful thing about it. If there's a kindergarten parent out there that received the scholarship for the next 13 years, that scholarship will be guaranteed, no problem. Wow. And then what happens is that if a little brother or a little sister come along, they are first in line because the goal of the whole scholarship program was to keep families together. So it's very, very difficult to get in right now, but once you're in, you're definitely in for the entire K-12 experience of the family.
Awesome. Just to clarify for those families that did not get awarded a scholarship this year, their application does not automatically roll over. They actually have to reapply again when the next cycle starts.
Well, yes, that's true. But an important step that families can take now, whether you receive the scholarship or not, is to contact their senator, contact their representative and say, this is a great program, we love it, and we love it because our child got the scholarship, we love it because our child didn't get the scholarship, but we really need more money in the program. And these kinds of letters are particularly effective when parents send them to the actual representative that is part of their district, because that's their constituency, and we need to engage the legislature in the next 7 or 8 months to make that $82 million go to $200 million or $300 million, so that next year at this time we can celebrate that everybody in the school got a scholarship. And that's the ultimate goal. We're not going to stop until there's enough money so that every single family that wants their child to have a private education can do so.
That's awesome. So I would imagine that there are some people that applied that didn't get a yes or a no letter. They haven't heard for some whatever reason. What should those families do?
If there is any family that thinks they deserve the scholarship because they met the first criteria of being under 200% of the poverty line, they really should have gotten the scholarship. And so if they did not, first would be to contact Vanessa and Ruth, because they have a really good pipeline into ACE to help them. And then the second thing would be to send their own email to ACE saying, I think that I was misassigned. And it could also be true of the waiting list families, that if a family was number 10,000 on the waiting list, but they really feel like their income was not perhaps read appropriately by the application process, they should appeal as well. Like, there is no problem with appealing whether you were in the first tier or the second tier or the third tier. If you think that somehow the application got it wrong, they should contact ACE, and we'll have the information for them to tell them how to do that. But the first step in all of these scenarios is that to be in touch with Vanessa Morales and Ruth Fitzpatrick from the finance office for the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school.
That is very simple. So everyone needs to get in touch with Vanessa or Ruth. And even if you're not sure what exactly you're asking for, send your information to Vanessa and Ruth, and they'll be able to guide you.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's a game changer. It sounds like the hope is in future years, the bucket of money gets increased so that all the families that apply get the scholarship.
That's the goal. That's the hope of the movement. We're not going to stop until that's true.
So be patient, be persistent, and be in touch with Vanessa and Ruth.
Yeah.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.